Well, quite an interesting weekend. It's Monday, and that means work, but quite honestly, I feel a bit paralyzed. Stark images this weekend brought about feelings of sadness and humiliation, especially watching my hometown of Miami being torn to shreds. But there were shimmers of hope if you looked past the facade of mainstream media, like Killer Mike in Atlanta. I'm not sure any truer words have been spoken. I want you to take three things from this video. The first is to watch his address. Also, Chris Swanson, Flint, Michigan Sheriff, Atlanta Police Chief, Erica Shields. There were a number of examples of people using the principle I'm underlying today, a heuristic used so feverishly by Elon Musk and top thinkers, it's worth your time to understand how to think for yourself using first principles in your decision-making process, but especially regarding today's issues. A first principles approach comes from Aristotle. In his book, Metaphysics, he discusses the act of boiling down a process down to the fundamental parts you know are true and building a reasoning from those underlying components. So in other words, it is the first basis from which a thing is known. Now, racism stems from race. So to understand racism, we must first understand the concept of race. I'll get back to that point in a bit. By breaking down a problem, a situation to its component elements, identifying the root cause and understanding each of these elements, we can challenge ideas and come up with better and more innovative solutions. So as I mentioned on the last model on social proof, humans are really good at imitating one another, following each other's practices without further dissection. Not questioning for ourselves is one of the biggest roadblocks to first principles thinking. Because of imitation, we find ourselves just falling into the trap of iterating on stuff, just trying to make it better. SpaceX just launched the first rocket into space from US soil in 9 years, not because it was able to make rockets better. No, it completely shattered the previous notion of one and done and created a means to reuse rockets, in turn saving billions of dollars. Musk and SpaceX broke the financial problem down into its component parts in order to solve the issue and create something that we've never seen before. Like getting people on the moon, solving racism cannot be done just through the form of imitation. Social proof tells us that imitating the right actions are important, but if we really truly want to embody our beliefs, we must learn how to think for ourselves. Form must follow function. If we want to eradicate racial biases, we need to understand the underlying components of what makes up racism, which is what we can use first principles for. That means understanding the concept of race. And that's what I'm doing this week. I have started reading the transcript and I'm watching a profound documentary called Race, the Power of an Illusion. It's a PBS documentary produced in part by Others in Belonging Institute and UC Berkeley. And I've learned quite a bit so far. Race is this man-made ideal. When I was born, I wasn't stamped Hispanic, and this is how you're supposed to treat me. Ethnographers show that our ancestors were very varied in their physical appearances, but were not grouped or organized in that manner. Only until about the 18th century did we find that man instituted this idea of racial ideals as a product to justify their means of slavery. More to come on this. So I'll leave you with the common idiom, I think, therefore I am. This may be meta, but think about using first principles to really break down that sentence, understand the ideas of what you're going to do to make yourself better, improve yourself today, especially with what we're going through. So the three things I wanted you to take out today: first, watch Killer Mike. Second, understand better first principles. I'll provide information in my long-form post on articles and first principles. And lastly, the documentary that I mentioned. Feel free to come along and watch with me, learn something. It's $5 for the 3-part series, which cannot be an excuse. Would love to know your thoughts on it, and have a great day.